Enjoy our podcast? Go to surfingthetsunami.com to discover an amazing wisdom and wellness platform designed to take ancient ideas down to street level with practical tools and takeaways delivered by some of the world's greatest thinkers, authors, and innovators. Sync up with a growing community of like-minded people from around the world on a journey to self-awareness, mindfulness, and fulfilling their dreams. The Wisdom Feed Plus membership is a perfect place to take your next steps on your personalized success path to a happier and healthier life. You can't stop the waves, but you can learn how to surf. Go to surfingthetsunami.com today.
MTV stands a host in front of a green screen and go, and Madonna has a new video. I said, we can stand a host in front of a green screen and go, and Schwarzenegger has a new film. We thought we were smart. We wrote a business plan. Everybody said, you know, it's not a bad idea, but you're not Time Warner and you're not Paramount and you're not Disney. People don't start TV networks. It just doesn't happen.
Welcome back to the StreetSmart Wisdom Podcast. I am Steve Stein, the founder of Better Listen and Wisdom Feed Plus. For 4 decades, my mission has been to find and publish the most inspirational and evidence-based thinkers in the world. We've sold more than 1 million downloads of wellness audiobooks over the years, so you can rest assured if it is on the StreetSmart Wisdom Podcast or Wisdom Feed Plus, it is legit and carefully vetted. Welcome. My name is Steve Stein. I'm the host of the StreetSmart Wisdom Podcast. Welcome to the first session of our Brooklyn Stories series. Little backstory. 22 years ago, I wrote a story called The Sneaker Tree, so my kids would know what it was like to grow up in old school Brooklyn, because it was so special. So I wrote this story, and in Brighton Beach, we were lower middle class, but we felt like kings, because we had the ocean. You know, we felt like we had the world. The world was our oyster. And now my kids are 22 and 20, and now there's a whole movement for unplugging. Everyone is so stuck on their phones. So this is kind of, there's a thing called historical nostalgia, I saw in the Times. It's like there's a craze for vinyl, there's a craze for old times. So about 5 years ago, I kind of finished a novel. It was originally a screenplay. And so the intention of all of this, I think, is to put down the phone and to pick up a stickball bat and to keep some of these stories relevant to today, because I think there's a hunger for that. So today, join me in welcoming 2 authentic Brooklyn legends, my friend and mentor, Ditto David Tawil.
Mentor. Whoa, man. Mentor, huh? Mentor? I was your mentor?
You become a mentor.
I'll take it.
You still haven't passed in 20 years.
I don't know about that.
30 years I know him, and we've gotten closer in the last 5 years. Larry Neymer, we met at a Lincoln High School reunion a few years ago, and I told him my story about the Sneaker Tree and my dad with the record store and all this stuff. And God bless both of these legends. They see the vision, and they're supporting this whole process. And it was Larry's idea to do this Brooklyn Stories series. So, when I mentioned it, Ditto was like, we got to do this live and in person. It'll be so fun. So here we are. Ditto will speak for 10 or 15 minutes, then Larry. Then I'll read an excerpt from the Sneaker Tree. And then after each of us goes, I have some rapid-fire, old-school Brooklyn questions. And if time permits, maybe we'll open it up. We have some people submitted questions. But that's the welcome. That's the intro. So, Ditto, you're up first. I have an intro. I have a little bio for you.
Okay.
A little about Ditto and his book, Hoop Dance. Hoop Dance is a love story about basketball and how it changes lives and how it changed my life and my entire family's life. It's also a rule book on how to play a game of basketball and how to play the game of life. It's a love story about the game and how it changes people's lives and how it helped me keep my family together and supportive and connected. Hoop Dance has rules in it on how to play basketball until you're 80 years of age. These 10 commandments in the book of Pick Up Basketball are designed to get rid of injuries if you follow the rules carefully. Ditto Tawil is an educator, hoops coach, life coach, community sports organizer. David has found a lifetime of Hoop Dance to be a transformational spiritual gift. Welcome, Ditto.
Nice to be here. So we grew up in a time when we were very fortunate because the streets were holy. All you had to do was roll down into Sethlow Park, and everything you had to know about life, you found out in the park, who the good guys were, the bad guys were, and you learned how to negotiate it, get through it, and bring it to the rest of your life. So I wound up playing basketball. It kind of defined me for so many years. Went to the JCH, met my wife on the roof, dancing on the rooftop at the JCH, one of those, I think there were Saturday night dances. We had the blessing of that. Been playing and competing over the years. Got a little too competitive. And I got older and went to school, played some basketball at Wilkes College in Wilkes-Barre. Came back home, started teaching and coaching, playing basketball, and got away from all those childhood friends that I kind of grew up with, except for maybe Freddie Grasso stayed, he was close. Pollock stayed, he was close. Most of the other guys left, spread out all over the country. And then there was a period of time when Gary gave me a call. He said, T, let's get together in Sethlow Park. So I put the group together, came to Sethlow Park.
Where was Sethlow Park?
On Bay Parkway, and we'd sprint out my door, past Fagels, past the pizza shop, say hello to everybody, dash across the street against the traffic light, make it to the court, and so you can get to play the first game, But it was very competitive. It became competitive as I came back home, played in the Brooklyn College runs, and played in Manhattan Beach games. So I wanted to create a game where we got together and just played for the fun of playing and the joy of movement. It was still contentious. So I started to gather rules on how to play the game without getting hurt, so no one could, so you can survive a basketball game on a Saturday morning. And it gave birth to this piece of text. But then as I grew older, and I realized the value of the storytelling and the value that came from that game, I wanted to bring it to my children, my grandchildren. And till this day, we have a game at Lafayette High School in Brooklyn when the kid can come into the game when he's bar mitzvah age, at the age of 13, and he has to play. And he has to be fit in with the guys. And I'll never forget Jerry First when he comes in. It was a gross when he says to me, Ditto, my kid's here. He's not gonna. I don't know. Is it? I said, hey, that's the rule. He's 13. He's bar mitzvah. He can play with it. So we pass on these stories. So we pass on this experience of camaraderie of that the schoolyard brought to us, and I thought they were blessed to have it. And in connection with today's youth, we're the most targeted and the most young people who are really suffering from the technology, from the phones, from the isolation, from the loneliness of it. We had the street. All the guys went to the park. We went to the JCH. We met our high school sweethearts. We talked to our girlfriends, and we actually snuck a kiss in when we could. And
learned about life in the park.
In the park. And it was a great piece of time, and I wanted to bring it to my grandkids. But in Rockaway, we have it. They have a lot of sports in Rockaway. We're very fortunate. And they do have the schoolyard in Rockaway. So it was kind of a place that still exists for my grandkids. And my sons made sure that they brought the game to them. They coached their games. My son Brett coaches in high school and does a great job.
How long was the run going for?
We started when I was about 40 years old, so it's 43 years.
43 years.
And guys, you wouldn't believe, and the guys who came through the run, they're in the book, and it was just...
I remember, now you do it, Jerry and his father and his kids, like 3 generations playing together on a court.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that.
There's not a lot of that happening. Usually now you get of a certain age, you get shipped off to Phoenix, you get shipped off to Florida. You know, so when I call Ditto a mentor, it's a reverent thing, because it's special when someone takes interest in someone else, and I appreciate it.
I found that basketball is something, it builds character. It's something that you can use to impact the kids' life force, give them a focus, bring people together, boys and girls. I had a lot of fun doing it in the Sephardic community. We brought a lot of these kids together over a period of 10, 15 years. And it's blossomed today in that community. You can't believe the amount of kids playing ball and learning skills at 5 and 6 and 7 and 8 years of age.
I always had a philosophy about basketball, that the way you are on the court is the way you are in life.
It was Bill Bradley put it in his book. He said, let me play against somebody for a half hour. It'll tell you all I need to know about him, you know. And
summer of '69, or actually the winter. That's, yes, Dollar Bill Bradley. Yep.
Yeah. So there it is. I think in this folklore, there's tales that we tell that transcend time, and you know, we pass it down to the kids. That folklore becomes part of the culture. I played in Central Park where there's a guy named Ira Shapiro, toughest kid I ever. I wanted to be Ira, because of that toughness that I saw in him. Of course, I had to tone it down, learn how to figure out how to, you know.
You're still trying to figure out how to tone it down.
Yeah, I know you do. With time, you don't want anyone to get hurt.
You don't want to get on the wrong side of Ditto on the court. That's for sure.
Well,
that's for sure.
We played tough. Let's just say we were tough. People said, you know, I enjoyed. But look, you went to the park. You learned how to get knocked down, get up. A part of life, right? And that's something you want to teach your kids, how to get knocked down, get up, so that they're emotionally able to go and do the rest of their life. Yeah, that's what. That's the contribution that I wanted to talk about tonight. And folklore and the keeping, and the choice is yours. You can sit on that phone and stay home. You can be, you know, targeted by the media or the algorithms that are putting you into dark holes and creating rage in separation in our communities. I mean, when they found out that rage was more profitable than sex in that medium, and these guys are not held accountable. These guys who are creating rage and getting away, they don't let their own kids.
You get more clicks from rage.
Clicks from rage, and so.
And I think that's one of the overall themes of just trying to, kind of a hunger for the old days, for analog days.
Yeah, but the choice is yours. You know, you talk about the old days.
That's the thing.
Nostalgia.
I don't think the choice is yours. I think kids are so locked in that you really have to do.
So yeah, it's where mentors and fathers come in. Put the phone down. I met a gentleman recently. He owns a restaurant in Sheepshead Bay. He said, Ditto, I want to talk to you about it. I said, 10 years ago, you said, don't let them use the phones and make them play sports. A gentleman from Turkey, beautiful guy. He owns Lopera, Sheepshead Bay. He said, this is just the other day, I came in to do some writing. He says to me, well, the kids can't use phones 5 days during the week. And on the weekends, they can. And they're all playing soccer. And so there it is. The choice is yours, and you've got to imprint it in your own families. I beg you, take the phone away. Get rid of the algorithms. Don't let them control what your children learn.
I think it's also part of it is come up with something compelling, because I have 22 and 20-year-olds, especially during COVID. Good luck trying to get the phones away. You really needed to have something compelling. All right, so that's a good first round. Ditto. Yay, Ditto, that was great. That was great. That was great.
Stop it.
All right. Now, up next, we'll talk about Larry Neymer and his new book, Off Script. How does an assistant underground cable splicer become an international media and entertainment mogul? In his one-of-a-kind memoir, Larry J. Neymer shares his journey to becoming the most sought-after media visionary in the U.S., Canada, Russia, and beyond. From his childhood in Coney Island to becoming the founder of E! Off Script tells the behind-the-scenes stories that marked his astounding success and the creation of stars like Howard Stern and the Kardashians. Not your typical memoir, Off Script is authentically, unapologetically Larry Neymer. Follow his recipes for success and you too can accomplish what others say cannot be done. And as a bonus, enjoy the recipes he's perfected from his travels around the world. Whether in the kitchen or Hollywood, Larry is proof that anyone can be successful, or as he says, if I can do it, so can you. Welcome, Larry.
Thank you. So what do you want to know? How I went from Coney Island to Hollywood?
Yeah.
Sure. Well, the family grew up in Coney Island, which has not been gentrified yet, so it's still a hood. And, my dad drove a Pepsi Cola truck, and my mom worked for the Department of Social Service. And their aspiration for their children was to get a civil service job so you could retire at 65 with a pension. So for whatever reason, I didn't really pay attention. I was the first kid in the family to go to college. The family really hails from Turkey. So they were, had that immigrant mentality and the survival mentality. And, like Ditto said, we grew up on the streets. I mean, in the summer, you went out of the house at 8 o'clock in the morning, and your mother would say, when the street lights go down, then you got to come home.
And how much did you have in your pocket? A quarter or a dollar?
Oh, the movies were like a quarter and, things like that. But we...
no nanny, right?
No, there was no nanny. But actually, I'll tell you...
sandwich.
It's actually been the inspiration for something that I'm doing now, but I'll explain that after. But after the... so I went to college. I graduated Brooklyn College. And with a degree in economics. So I quickly realized that there weren't a lot of jobs for economists. So I ended up taking what I thought was going to be a summer job, where actually I was going out with a gal from Lincoln High School, from Brighton 6th Street, and her dad was in the Electrical Workers Union. And he said, we organized this thing, it's cable TV, I don't know what it is, but go tell the shop steward that the union sent you. So I went there, and they gave me a job for $90 a week in Manhattan.
How old were you at this point?
I was 21.
Okay.
Where you go under the streets of Manhattan with the roaches and the rats, and you put the wires together. And it was, they paid me $90 a week.
A lot of money.
And
that's good money.
And it was, it was funny then, because all of a sudden, like the main guys there would go, hey kid, how do you know how to use the equipment and just working here for a week where it takes everybody else a year? And I'm like, I read the instruction booklet. I mean, it wasn't rocket science. And so I kind of worked my way from an assistant splicer to a splicer. Then they made me a construction guy, and then an installer, and then a service tech. And then it ended up, the Time Incorporated, when Time was still a magazine company, they bought the company. And so you had all the Harvard and Yale guys, and they had their first contract with all these guys who worked under the streets. So the shop steward there said, hey kid, you know how to read and write, you're going to be on the negotiating committee. And I'm like 23 years old, and I'm negotiating against all these Harvard and Yale guys. And, it was good because I know how to read and write. And we ended up getting a good contract, and the union came back and said, we loved how good you were. We're going to make you the vice chairman of the Cable TV Workers of America.
And you're 23
And
now.
I'm 23 years old. So I'm like, okay, do I get more money? They go, no, but as long as there's people working in the field, you have to be on the clock. I went, okay, I'll take that job. And, so you'd be sitting in the luncheonette having a, cup of coffee and you're getting paid. And so, I did that. And then the timing sent the guy in to run the company. And he and I got along really good because he was going, I don't know how to speak to those guys, but you do. And you know how to read a balance sheet and you speak my language.
Right.
So he convinced me to leave the union and go into management. So at 25, I became the director of operations in Manhattan Cable, where everything reported to me except programming and finance.
How many people were in that company?
It was like 300 and some odd people, all of which were older, which was a great lesson in learning how to manage. So I did that, and then what happened was all the big cities began to realize that cable was more than just good reception. And the big cities wanted cable to go into their cities. But they all wanted it to go underground. Well, the only person around who knew how to build underground was me. So I get recruited by this Canadian company who won the franchise for LA. And at first I was a total ass. When the guy called me, I'm like, I'm not interested. I said, I'm a Brooklyn kid. I'm not going to La La Land. And finally, he said, okay, do you got a girlfriend? I went, yeah. He goes, okay, I fly you and your girlfriend out to LA. I put you in the Bel Air Hotel for the weekend. You got to give me an hour. I went, as long as you understand, there's no way I'm taking that job. So he said, okay, great. So they literally flew me out, and I'm like a total idiot. I'm going, okay, your hour starts now, and then like I said, I go, okay, you got a minute and a half left. And then finally the guy said to me, he goes, what would it take for you to move out here? So just as an idiot, I said, I understand Liberace just moved to Las Vegas, but he's got a house in LA with a piano-shaped swimming pool. I want that house. I want a car with a mobile phone. It was before cell phones. 4 times what I make in New York. And the guy just went, he goes, you're out of your mind. I went, exactly, bye. And I left, and I go back. And then I was working on 23rd Street in Manhattan. And New York is great. The first day it snows, it's really pretty. But the day after, it's slush. So here I am. I got my suit and my tie on. I'm going to work. And a cab goes by and splashes me with black gook. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing here? So I get to the office, and the assistant says, Larry, that guy from Canada's been calling you. I go, get him on the phone. So I go, what is he? He goes, what you asked for is how ridiculous, but how fast could you be here? And
Say that again?
What you asked for
it was ridiculous, but how fast could you be here? And I'm like going, So literally went to 14th Street, bought a trunk, threw my clothes in, moved out to LA, and I built Valley Cable, which was the first 61 channel advanced cable system.
Are you 26 yet?
I just turned 30.
Okay.
And, so I did that, but now I had programming and finance. Literally, when I get off the plane, the Canadian guy goes, here's the franchise from LA, this is what you got to build, and here's a $400 million credit line from Toronto Dominion, so you have the money to build it. If you need us, call us. And they leave. So here I am, doing this, and there were no rules and stuff like that. But, you're a Brooklyn kid, and you're out in California, and all your neighbors are going to parties and premieres. And so I would call the studios and go, hey, put me on those lists. They go, yeah, you're like the gas company, you're a utility. No, we're not letting you come. So finally I meet a guy that's a marketing guy at Universal. And I said, I don't understand. The most efficient vehicle you have for marketing a movie is a movie trailer. But the only time I ever see a movie trailer is when I'm already in the movies. He goes, yeah, we can't afford to buy television time. I go, tell you what, you give me the trailers, I'll put them on TV for free, but you put me on those party lists. And he does. And, when I did audience surveys, what's your favorite channel? Oh, I love CNN, I love ESPN, I love that trailer channel. And I'm going, wait a second. I'm getting the best 2 minutes of a $50 million.
But there was no CNN. Was there CNN?
CNN had just started, yeah.
Okay.
And
it's not like 100 stations. Maybe then it's 10 or 15 stations.
There was very few. I mean, I was building 61. I bought character generators, so I had the school lunch channel. I had the library channel. I had the lost pet channel, which I was trying to divide between dog. I had to divide it between dog.
Well, that's
and cat.
riveting stuff.
I
lost pet channel. You needed content.
You needed content. There wasn't around that. And MTV had just started, and so it was like the early days of cable programming. And then the company I worked for sold out, and they said, Larry, we'll expect you back in Toronto in 2 weeks. I go, no. I said, I didn't go from Brooklyn to LA to go to Toronto. I said, I'm staying here. So me and my friend Alan were kicking around ideas. And we just said, he goes, I've been thinking, why has nobody done like an MTV of the movies? And I went, wait a second. I mean, MTV stands a host in front of a green screen and go, and Madonna has a new video. I said, we can stand a host in front of a green screen and go, and Schwarzenegger has a new film. We thought we were smart. We wrote a business plan. But we said, you know, it's not a bad idea, but you're not Time Warner and you're not Paramount and you're not Disney. People don't start TV networks. It just doesn't happen. And we weren't smart enough to listen. We went, finally we met a guy on Wall Street after 3.5 years for nothing. He says, I really love this. The guy had movie posters on the wall. He goes, oh, I used to be the entertainment reporter for my college newspaper. And I'm like, yeah, okay. So he goes, I really like this. I want to do it. I said, great. I said, you know, it's almost $100 million to start a TV network these days. Could you give us close to that? He goes, oh no, I'm only allowed to sign for 2.5. And I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do with 2.5? He goes, that's all I'm allowed to sign for. And Alan and I just looked at each other and said, you know what, we'll take it. So we took the 2.5, and I had a friend teaching radio, television, and film at University of Texas in Austin. I called him up. I said, Brian, do you have kids that need intern jobs? He goes, yeah, we had trouble placing. I said, send them all. So literally, you know, people, you know, now he is a monster. We're in 142 countries now. The valuation is up around 7-point-something billion. And it's arguably the biggest influence of pop culture in the world. I mean, all you got to do is look at what we do with the Kardashians and Howard Stern and stuff like that. But you know, we just took the money so that I had 31, he started with 11 employees and 31 interns. It didn't start from a big media company. And my friend was really angry at me because, you know, these kids started as interns at the beginning of the summer. As soon as it went on the air, we grew so fast. By the end of the summer, half of these kids were vice presidents.
Wow.
Remarkable story.
There's unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. So, but I want to hear you firsthand say there was a story about an interview situation.
Oh, when we first started, when we realized, because we didn't have a lot of money, we didn't have enough money to buy the cameras. I mean, then, you know, so I ended up buying cameras. I found a company that was using, like, not professional equipment, but to do sales training tapes. And they were selling their old equipment, so I bought it. So that's what we did. So it looked very pirate. It didn't look like network television. And people were watching and go, oh my God, you know, it looks so pirate. I'm going, yeah, okay, because we couldn't afford to buy the real stuff. But we realized that with limited money, we weren't going to dazzle anybody with special effects or anything like that. So we put a lot of effort into picking hosts. You know, I said, love them or hate them, feel something for those hosts. And, you know, people say to me now, they go, oh, Larry, you're so lucky you had all those hosts. Greg Kinnear went on to win, you know, Academy Award. Julie Moran, first woman to do Wide World of Sports. Katie Wagner did Lifestyles of Richard Famous. Richard Blade was the lead DJ at K-Rock. And that was not an accident. That was, we interviewed almost 10,000 people, and we put 7,000 people on tape. But the first one we hired, and I had to do everything. So I was the salesman too. So I would go in and try and convince movie companies that they should advertise on this. So I go in and I pitch this movie company, and the guy that I was supposed to pitch didn't come in. It was a rainy day, and he had a cold. He didn't come to work, so I get to pitch the assistant. And I'm going through, you know, the whole thing, and he goes, oh, who's going to be the host? I want to be a host. And I'm like, yeah, okay, sure, you want to be a host. I said, have you ever been on TV? No. I go, let me guess. You were in the drama class at Arizona U? And he goes, yeah, how'd you know? It ends up that kid was Greg Kinnear. And Greg was like going, you know, I really want to do this. I said, go see Eileen next Tuesday. And I go back and I tell Eileen, who's doing all the casting. I said, I don't care if you even have tape in the camera. Just be nice to the guy I'm trying to sell advertising. And if he comes in that day and he goes, that guy's here, he wants to say hello. And I said, tell him I'm busy. I'm sorry, I can't, you know, doing it. I mean, I was trying to figure out how you make payroll on Friday. And she comes back and says, he's being kind of insistent. He'd really like to just stop in and say hello. I said, Eileen, I'm trying to figure out how I pay you this Friday. Leave me alone. And I said, just take him in the studio, be nice, apologize for me. So she comes in later and she says, Larry, I got that guy in the studio, you got to come in. I said, Eileen, what was it about get the F out of here that you didn't understand? So she literally takes me by the ear and she's pulling me down. You remember the scene in Wizard of Oz? Oh. She's pulling me down the hallway. And I'm going, Eileen, I'm going to kill you. I can't believe you're doing this. She goes in and she cues him, and I just looked up and I went, holy. I said, the kid just lit the camera up. I just went, I'm sorry, hire that guy. So Greg Kinnear was the first one we hired.
Amazing. So
Great story.
the thing I had in mind, something about jumping a fence.
Oh yeah. So the first time.
That's a Brooklyn maneuver.
It's a very Brooklyn maneuver. We applied for credentials for the Oscars.
For the Oscars.
And they rejected us. They said, just some dumb little cable network, we're not letting you in. So me and the crew, we climbed over the fence with the equipment, and we're on the red carpet. And we were going around. We got about a half an hour before they caught us and threw us out. But our take, as a Brooklyn kid, I didn't take this stuff very seriously. So while everybody else was doing entertainment on it, so Tom Cruise, tell me about your next movie. Boring. Yeah. I'm there going, whoa, Tom, those are cool shoes. Where'd you get them? So when people watched it, we finally got thrown out after half an hour. But when people watched it...
You got some footage, though?
Oh, people watched it, and they're going, we thought we were watching something we're not supposed to. And I'm going, yeah. And they go, it was like so pirate. And I'm going, yeah. But that was kind of it. And then that led to, me, when I was talking to Joan Rivers, one day I said, Joan, I got this idea for a TV show where you make fun of the way people dress. And she was like, I could do that. I went, I know you could. And so that was, Fashion Police with Joan. And then I found Howard in an elevator in Manhattan, Howard Stern.
What was that? How did that go down?
We're in 30 Lincoln Plaza in the elevator. And we meet this guy and he's telling us, oh, I'm a radio guy. And I'm like, yeah, all right, radio's been dead for 40 years, guy. Yeah. He goes, no, you got to come and see it. And I'm like, all right, yeah, I'm trying to be polite. I figure if he's a neighbor, I don't want to be nasty. So we go and do it. And I go back and I tell the crew. Now, the first time when I went back and told my crew, I said, I want to do a TV show that makes fun of TV shows. And they were like, Larry, you're out of your mind. You can't do that. Well, that show was Talk Soup. It ran 26 years. Wow. But then I go back and say, okay, I want to put cameras in this guy's radio studio. And they were going,
so you invented that.
So they were going, Larry, when you did Talk Soup, we thought you were out of your mind. Now you're really out of your mind. I said, no, you don't understand. This is not a radio show. I said, there used to be a TV comedy called WKRP in Cincinnati. This is the reality TV version of WKRP. It was an ensemble cast. It was a comedy. And so we put, obviously, Howard went on to do pretty well.
Men's and men's.
Yeah, he did okay.
Wow. Okay. Incredible.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to talk about, so thank you. Wow. Good. Oh my God, what a contribution. Little snot-nosed kid from Brooklyn.
And that's what people still call me.
All right, so that's brilliant. All right, so the Sneaker Tree is about my story, and they supported me in that, and here we are telling Brooklyn stories. So I want to read just two quick excerpts from the Sneaker Tree, and then we'll go round robin and we'll get some fun, keep the fun going. Chapter 1, the summer of 69. I was 10 years old in that magical summer of 69, the summer of the Miracle Mets, Woodstock, the first walk on the moon, and the peak of the war in Vietnam. Underneath the Sneaker Tree, our clubhouse without walls, the boys, the fellas, the crew followed sports, told tales, and dreamed dreams. The older guys told stories of getting out, getting laid, and getting high. The younger guys, well, they just wanted to figure out how to be like the old guys. After all, if you wanted to learn how to body surf, hurl a blooper pitch, hustle foul shots, or twist a perfect joint, Who better to teach you than one of the 2nd Street Park boys? And where better to play hoops, eat humorettes, and horse around than in the asphalt blanketed playground alongside a boardwalk 3 miles long? Beneath the sneaker tree and the cool penumbra cast by branches full of leaves intertwined with the high-top sneakers made of canvas, Chuck Taylors, PF Flyers, Converse, Spaldings with the orange bottoms, we basked in the salt-fresh, cool ocean breeze, living life in full technicolor, while we sported sneakers made of either of black and white. Remember, this was 1969, BS, before suede. An evolution not yet to reach the mundane universe of canvas and cloth athletic footwear. The playground, 2nd Street Park, adjacent to the boardwalk and seacoast, was our home away from home and always open. It was an oasis from the small working class homes and the lives we all lived. Not that we could have afforded it, but this was before air conditioning, before auto climate control, before those buttons existed. Yes, if you wanted to escape the heat, your parents or the fuzz, the boardwalk, and our beloved tree-lined park on Brighton 2nd Street was always an option. Old or young, no play dates were ever necessary. Someone was always on the scene, hanging out, playing stickball, shooting scully, scanning the racing form for long shots, gambling, or playing Johnny on the pony. The summer of '69 elevated to one of mythic proportions for followers of New York sports. The hope and excitement shared by all New Yorkers in 1969 was a welcome, warm contrast to a country starkly divided, reminiscent of what things are like now, a country starkly divided by the conflict in Vietnam, a civilization out of balance, hungry for simple truths, peace of mind, and anything positive. Amidst the war on poverty, race wars, anti-war demonstrations, and the war in Vietnam, sports served as a buffer against the kaleidoscopic times. And I have another short piece. Should I keep going, or what do you think?
Yeah.
Sure.
All right, let's do it. It was a sunny Saturday morning, and the crazies on the boardwalk were out in full force. A half-naked guy dancing Freddie, he really existed, worked the boardwalk, and as usual, a crowd gathered around his gyrating body. His eyes bulged as the transfixed audience laughed at his double-pump moonwalks, dance moves, and slapstick stunts. Accepting donations from the audience, he blindfolded himself and then very bravely jumped over a small, empty brown paper bag and took an exhibitionistic bow, and the crowd and onlookers applauded. This mindless, talentless exhibition, Ed Sullivan must-see TV, it wasn't, but it definitely was colorful. Nope, there was no shortage of local color back then in Brighton Beach. Next door to 2nd Street Park, a sign made of tin roofing read, Max's Sun and Health Parlor, open 365 days. Max's was a year-round refuge for uninhibited sun worshipers, crudely designed to maximize one's color. The solarium floor of painted silver, concrete turned the entire block into a huge sun reflector. Polar Bear Club members on hand year-round spoke mostly in varying Yiddish dialects, did handstands, flexed their muscles while they jumped rope in double time and breathed the ocean air vigorously. My buddy Robert Winter's father was a polar bear. So was Cosmos, the self-proclaimed world's greatest mystic. My sister Carol worked that summer at Max's Sun Parlor, renting wood and canvas chairs to sunbathers. That morning, Lefty and Danny, taking in the rays and admiring the oiled-up chicks, listened to Cousin Brucey on the radio. In fact, all of the portable radios would tune in to everybody's cousin Brucey, creating a block-wide soundtrack to the scene that was Max's. On the radio comes up, the dating game is coming into New York soon. And if you know any eligible bachelors 18 years or older in the New York metropolitan area, send their names in on a postcard to Dating Game at 1 Rockefeller Plaza, New York, New York. Cousin Brucey announces on the radio. Lefty quickly grabs a pencil and jots down the details. Hey, you never know, exclaims the king of Bada Bing. In those good old days when there was still an ozone layer, everyone went to extraordinary measures to maximize their tan. The potion of choice was traditional homebrew suntan lotion comprised of iodine and baby oil.
Max's Parlor with the aluminum sun reflectors.
The original orange people.
Orange, everyone was orange.
The original orange.
And then they went to
First
Band du
orange
Soleil after, like, when they could afford it.
And then you go to Nathan's for a hot dog for 5 cents. Or
All right, while we're still going, I have a quick, anything else you want to say? You know what, before I do this, let's talk for 1 second about what happened when you just saw each other before we came on stage. It's such a Brooklyn story.
Oh, the Lloyd.
I see Larry outside before we're waiting, and Larry goes, I played football with Ditto in Coney Island. That's the only Ditto I ever knew. And I said, could be him. Hothead, tough guy, whatever. And then what happened?
Sure. Well, my dad used to play. It was at Kaiser Park in Coney Island, and I used to go and watch and stuff. And then when I was old enough to play for Lincoln High School, they let me play every once in a while. But it was funny because, the name is unusual. When you said Ditto, I went, there was a guy in Coney Island by that name that I saw play. And sure enough, when we did it, he goes, were you in the park the day that I had a fight with Lloyd Wiener? And I'm like, yeah, I was there. Because when I played football for Lincoln, the brother, Butch, was on my team and stuff. So that I used to go and watch all these guys, and I remember the fight between Ditto and Lloyd.
So here's the deal. There's a truth in sport in every incident that occurs. So Lloyd was an all-city football guy from Lincoln, and I played basketball at Lafayette. Bobby Feinstein invites me down for the day. Say, sure. So, we're attacking the passer, and Lloyd's supposed to prevent me from getting to the quarterback. So I keep getting to the quarterback. So finally got by one time, boom, boom, he starts whacking me on the back of my head, fist fight. And then his brother, who's on my team, jumps in and is also banging me on the back.
There's a reason why he's beating you up.
And I'm looking around for Finey, where are you, son of a bitch? You got me here to play football. And 20 years later, Feinstein's daughter's getting married, her son's getting married.
This is in this was in California?
No, we were it was here in New York,
okay.
And Goldie's there, and so Lloyd comes over and he says, I got to apologize to you. I said, for what? He said, that fight that we had 20 years ago, I was pissed off at you because you were getting to the quarterback and I couldn't stop you. I said, look at this. I said, 20 years later, that moment of truth, you bring it to the table and you exonerate me from another magical moment where I'm the villain. So it was a sweet night, and Lloyd, he's a terrific guy.
So this is not the first time you met?
No, well,
60 years ago, yeah.
No, but I wouldn't remember that moment. He was long and lean and quick, and
all right.
Now it was a long time ago.
That was a long time ago. Yeah. I think I was 15 or so.
Yeah. 15, wow.
I was 30, about 30, 25.
And how young are you now?
I'm 83 years young.
83, God bless. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, so quick round table, just a couple of things. So, growing up, what were your favorite nicknames? Some of the guys in the neighborhood.
Larry?
Yeah.
Hot dog.
Hot dog?
Frankie Hot Dog.
Frankie. It's like the Sopranos. It's like the Frankie Hot Dog.
Owned the soft drink company on like
Sunny Dew?
No, not Sunny Dew. It was like real soda. City Club soda.
Okay.
That was Frankie Hot Dog. That was like one of my favorites. The Italians had the best names.
Yeah, they did.
They had the best names.
Vinny Cigar?
Yeah.
He was a guy who we played in the Italian-American softball league in Dyker Park, and Vinny would appreciate the games with a cigar in his mouth.
Vinny's Cigar.
Vinny's Cigar. And there was Aldo's second story. Everybody in the neighborhood knew that.
Tell me about that. I love that.
Second story. I'm walking down the street one day with Freddie Grasso. I said, "Hey, Fred, what's up?" And he said, he stops, talks to a couple of guys. I said, "Who's that?" He says, "That's Aldo's second story." I said, "What do you mean Aldo's second story? What does that mean?" He says, "He does, everybody knows in the neighborhood that he robs second story apartments." I said, he said, "No, you got to be kidding me." So there was just a variety of those names. Yeah, you know.
I have one that comes to mind. And one day this guy comes, a new kid comes to 2nd Street Park, and we're playing punch ball, stick ball, basketball, you know, all day long. And this guy doesn't say a word. He's a shy kid, nothing wrong with that. So Bradley Rankowski goes up to him and he goes, "No speak it English?" And he goes, "I speak English. What are you talking about?" So for the next 15 years, he was no speak. He was no. And then what was it's in the book. Then there was this Armenian guy, Kenny, who used to play on the main court at 2nd Street Park. But he was Armenian, so he played with flip-flops and a skin-tight bathing suit. And he would scream, "Delilah, get off the monkey bar," in the middle of the game. And he used to call no speak, no spick.
Jeez.
So anyway, nicknames. Okay.
We had Nick the Quick Gaetani. He was so
Say
fast.
that again?
Nick, we used to call him the Quick because he was quick as lightning and played softball. If you hit a fly ball to the outfield, he was on second base, and the guy caught the ball stepping back, and Nick tagged from second, you'd send him home as he round third. So he got the nickname Nick the Quick.
Nick the Quick.
My dad's older brother was Al the Banana King. The family was in the food business, and he had a banana stand.
We had Joey Watermelon. We used to sell watermelons on a watermelon truck.
Joey Watermelon.
Joey Watermelon. You know, usually the nickname that stuck had something to do, whatever it was that you was.
No speak. Everyone was there. They didn't speak. But
Mumbles. There was guys who called Mumbles.
Okay, keep it going. Favorite street game, park game.
Oh, punch ball.
Punch ball. Absolutely.
Oh, I love punch ball.
We used to punch ball into the tree on 71st Street, and you used to come sliding, the ball come down, and you could slide on blacktop. So you'd hit the pole and go sliding into second base. You can go basking on blacktop and come into second.
Sliding on asphalt?
Asphalt.
That's crazy.
No, not on the hardcore. Asphalt, blacktop you could slide.
Blacktop.
If you know how to slide, you could get your shorts on the bottom of your ass and you get in. Such a great feeling, though.
Which reminds me of, like, we spent so much time on the asphalt. Whatever sneakers, I don't know if we could afford Chuck Taylors.
That holes in the bottom.
But I used to get cardboard and put it on the bottom of his shoes. And then sometimes, long day, you play 7 hours, socks are coming out
they had a hole
the
in
bottom of the hole. And
$6.95 Converse, $6.95.
And you would measure by sewers.
Yeah,
it was a one
two
sewer,
sewers. Because you hit two sewers.
And 2nd Street Park, we had all the games. But on First place, there was a roofer. Like, I don't think, maybe I got one roofer, but like Todd and Bradley, some of the ballers, they had a great swing and they would hit a roofer. And then the other thing is, I put it into the story, is if you had a home run all the way down the street, and it was like by the subway, all the way from the boardwalk, a shot that bounced, and it's right near, it wasn't George's Candy Corner, but it was a luncheonette.
Yeah.
So we would take orders, whoever, like Ricky,
So we also, remember with the stick ball we play, we would put tape on the top of the bat, so if the police came, they took the bats away. We dropped the bat down the sewer, it would stick there. They said we couldn't find the bats. And it was.
And you made those bats, right?
Out of broomsticks.
Yeah, broomsticks. Then someone started selling. And that pink ball that we use, man. That pink ball. You go anywhere without that pink ball.
Yep.
Yeah.
Street games.
All right. What was your first job?
I sold cigarettes for Joe's discount store on Mermaid Avenue in Coney Island. Like 25. I think I was 12 years old. 12. Yeah, but selling cigarettes for 25 cents a pack.
I was pushing a push cart in New York City for $30 a week for Coen Brothers. Kane, I think at the time, Coen Brothers became Kane. And I would take the train in, and load up this push cart. And then I go from the 6 stores pushing this push cart. I was 80 pounds. Get to the curb, and I'm jumping on the cart. People would come over and help me jump on the cart so I could get the cart up the curb.
Right.
And so I did, and $30 a week. It was a trip. Yeah.
And my first job, I worked in my father's record store. That was one of my first jobs. And before that, I had my brother's hand-me-down shoe shine kit. So I would shine shoes on the boardwalk for a nickel, a quarter. Shoe shines here, and then we sold sodas and everything. But that was what you did. Stalls knishes. What was your favorite flavor knish?
Cherry.
Cherry cheese?
Yeah.
Respect.
I was a straight potato guy. That was it.
Straight potato
Little
guy?
mustard, slice it mustard.
Slice?
Yeah. They were a nickel, a quart. I don't know what they were. It was pennies.
I love them all, but they had an onion pretzel. And it was like onion, like a bialy.
Oh, yeah,
like the whole thing was like a bialy. And I used to joke that I loved it because I got to taste it twice. The next day I would be burping up onions.
Yeah.
But it was... All right.
Was in Coney Island.
Totonos.
Yeah.
Respect.
Yeah. Kosher. So I wasn't allowed to eat pizza.
Wow.
Please, it's 50. I went on a little basketball ride, and I was eating only kosher food. So for the first 6 weeks, I wasn't eating meat, or it was tentative. My buddy, unkosher food, He didn't die, and I said, all right, I guess you can.
He ate kosher and lived? So...
I can try it.
Egg cream or lime Ricky?
Egg cream for sure. I still do egg creams at home.
Vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
You ever try vanilla once in a while?
Yeah, I've tried it, but you bet chocolate is...
It's the thing.
That's the epitome of...
Vanilla, but how much would you eat? 10 cents, 15 cents?
Oh, yeah, like 10 cents, 15 cents back then.
Yeah, the egg creams. Yeah.
Yeah, the vanilla egg creams were too exotic for me. I was a traditionalist.
Right. I invented
milk.
The hard vanilla egg cream in my old age. I would get the vanilla syrup from Starbucks and make a vanilla egg cream, and then I would take Stoli vanilla.
Oh, okay.
And pour it in there, and you could not taste the vodka. It was
Vodka.
Stoli vanilla.
And an egg cream?
The hard.
How old were you when you were drinking that?
40. I was 35.
Oh, God.
This was down back in the day. All right, so before we wrap up, thank you for your bit of...
Sharp, thank you, Sharp.
Right, Sharp, thank you for
Sharp.
being with us.
Jimmy, thank you for your work.
And Tracy,
you.
Any closing statements or ideas or...
No, I mean, I just think, Brooklyn was, a magical place. And, when people say, where did you get the disciplines that you've gotten? And it all comes back to what we learned in Brooklyn as street kids and stuff. And then playing sports. I mean, my football coach was actually a legendary guy named Vince Gargano.
Yeah, I remember.
Who, you learn to be a team player. Butt off, and that stuff.
Knocked down.
And trophies. We could afford a damn. Wrap it up. Thank you, Jimmy, for this beautiful space. And Tracy, of course. So part of the reason we're doing the Sneaker Tree was a screenplay 20 years ago, was dormant for 15 years. Then I had a third of help of Lee Zlotov, the creator of MacGyver, and hopefully he'll be on a future episode. And then all of a sudden it's morphed into, originally it was a screenplay, then I finished a novel 5 years ago, and now we're looking to make it a streaming series. And we're getting some interest, because I know I would love to watch it on, these old school, and it's analog. So that's part of the reason why we're here.
I think the personal thing for me is that folklore is something you create in contemporary life. The choice is yours. You can make these things happen with experiences with your own family. Choose wisely, because there's a price you pay for choice.
And so the Sneaker Tree, the novel's available on Amazon. And if anyone's interested in getting involved with the streaming series, ConeySteve@gmail. Pretty easy to remember. So thanks.
It's a wrap.
That's a wrap. Thanks, everyone. If you like the StreetSmart Wisdom Podcast, we invite you to become a Wisdom Feed Plus member. You'll have direct and on-demand access to some of the most compelling and relevant thinkers in the world. And it's all highly curated and designed to help you be your best you. Change your mind, change your life. If you're like the rest of us in this insane world filled with stress and uncertainty, Wisdom Feed Plus can help you smile more and stress less. That's exactly why our team has created Wisdom Feed Plus, a wonderful community of inspired individuals in search of health, wellness, and a life of abundance. When you become a member, you don't just get access to a broad array of meditations, yoga, qigong, and live events. You become part of an inner movement and a growing community of like-minded people along the Wisdom Feed Plus success path. Your personalized journey to a peaceful and satisfied life. Go to surfingthetsunami.com to get started.